Alright, honestly, I'm not gonna spend all my life trying to get the perfect stats. This is fine. 2 6s is a win in my book. It is a complete win. Alright. Oh, it's very fucking warm. It is extremely warm. In fact, I want to know how warm it is right this second. It's 16 degrees, and it is it's going to be 30 degrees at the highest point on Thursday. Are you kidding me? It is like badly, in a bad way. It is 3 a.m. I shouldn't be up, but I am. And it's 16. It's 16 degrees, and it feels like all the heat is just, obviously I'm fucking British, so all the fucking heat is staying in the room. Alright, I blink through the cobwebs of sleep and stare at the glaring sunlight falling through the windows. Oh, after days and nights of research, I have completed the formulae to create the truth serum. I should make it as soon as possible, time is running out. The recipe truth serum has been added to your list. Cool. And okay. No one can make it though. No one can make it. Isn't that bad? We need someone... Wait, how can no one make it? You could make it, couldn't you? No, you don't have fire. Why can't you make it? Truth, do I have time to bake it? I don't have to do it this time, right? We need fire. Who is the closest to being able to do this? I don't know. Man, my computer room is now like really empty, so I don't even really have anything to write on. Actually, yes, I do. I drew something. I drew something for a D&D character, and I don't know where it's gone actually. Oh, it's still there. And now I can just write it down, rather than having to deal with like a notepad or something. So we need fire, 7, water. I have a really bad memory, especially when it's really humid and I feel like sticky. That's gross, but it's true. Alright, so fire, water, and light all at a 7. You know, this could be a game over if I have to do it right now. That'd be kind of unfair. That'd be kind of unfair. Alright. You... Nazir. Why are you learning water? You have enough of fire, obviously, and water. If I could now just make you do light. Instead of wind, I guess. Or whatever. No. This and then this. Because you already have enough water. But that means you need... I have time, right? I have time. I have to have time. I cannot create it right now. None of the princes know how to do it. And he has no fire knowledge. Have I fucked myself by just solely making them do their own thing? Like, have I messed up that bad? Let's make him do fire. I feel like I've messed up because I didn't know that they had to learn other things. It makes sense that they do, but I just didn't know that. If we die, don't we come back stronger? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Let's save and try to get them the most that we can. I mean, ours is garbage, so I'm actually redoing it. You know, it's really important that we don't die as well, you know. 3, 2. Just terrible. Just terrible. Three, 2, 4. Awful. Actually awful. Actually terrible. 3, 2, 3. I'm pausing it until I get the desired outcome. Okay, so I was Oh, hello, kitten. I was an idiot and I accidentally saved over something instead of loading it because I went back to try and get more of a head start on this thing. But I somehow messed everything up and didn't do what I wanted to in the first place, so I was stuck, and yeah, this is how it is. We can't do it on the first week. We literally can't. We have to deal with the consequences currently. Lady Rosencruz. Despite having spent nearly 3 months in the palace, I still have to fight down an urge to leap to my feet and salute at the sound of his voice. Instead, I look up from the mess of alchemical diagrams and equations flooding over my desk and incline my head politely. Lord Marshal, good afternoon. Is it? His eyes flick briefly and indifferently at the mellowing sunshine outside the window before darting back to my face. I've come to ask whether you're ready to question the assassin yet. Prisoner, Garion. Corpse at the rate his condition is decaying. How many times? Garion does not need to ask what I meant. 3. We won't be able to stop the 4th. What happened? The 3rd time he chipped off his canine tooth when eating his meal and tried to slam it into his eye. I wince. Too damn creative. And when men barely managed to restrain him in time, won't be so lucky next time. The men, they're getting tired too. Sick, nerves all shot to bits. Can't blame them really, I suppose. I look more closely at Garion, startled by his sudden verboseness. His face is pale and his lips pressed thinly together, his hands clutched tightly at his folded arms, knuckles white. Your nerves aren't in trim condition either, Lord Marshal, but I can't blame you, really. So, Lady Rosencruz, you needed a couple of weeks to brew your special truth serum. We've brought you those couple of weeks. Where is it? Still in the making, Lord Marshal. Still? Garion has a unique way of making question marks sound like exclamation marks. Brewing it is a highly complicated procedure, and as much as I would like to expedite it, my other duties as royal tutor prevents me from doing so. You don't know how badly the prisoner is wearing, Lady Rosencruz. If we do not interrogate him soon, we will never get the chance to. I appreciate the urgency, Lord Marshal, but I am doing all I can in response, but... I spread my hands helplessly. Garion heaves a long-suffering sigh. I understand, these few days have not been easy for any of us. But you must let me know when the serum is available to use. I will, Lord Marshal. Then good day to you, Master Rosencruz. And to you. With a disappointed air, Garion turns his back on me and leaves the room. His tone just now sounded seriously worried, and Garion is not a man to worry lightly. It's fine. We can probably do it now. We can. Aurelius can do it. He's our dude. There, we fucking did it. You happy now? I should probably let him do this for a little while longer. What one should I not make him do? Fight. For a little while at least, just so you can get in some, I don't know, wind. You continue doing what you're doing again. And you what should we make you do? Learn wind now. Time to save. Start. Yes. Mm-hmm. You know what? Whatever. Although none of you did very well, so I'm gonna load again. You know, I'm gonna pause again. Okay, whatever. They're never gonna do super well. Or they'll rarely do super well on the subjects they're not great in the first place, so let's just go. I am on my way back to my study when someone grabs me from behind by the elbow. I spin around and see Prince Aurelius, his mouth set in a grim line. I have bad news. The 4 words make my heart freeze. Prisoner. What else? Half an hour ago, 2 men disguised as palace guards infiltrated the dungeon and murdered the wardens there. They either killed the prisoner or helped him commit suicide. I just made the truth serum though. I don't suppose we managed to catch the assassins alive. Of course not. They splashed acid on their faces before our guards could reach them. He made them use acid. Yes, their faces are burned out of all recognition. For a while, the sickening suggestion of that gruesome scene captures my thoughts. I notice Aurelius looking at me significantly. His usual cool and detached expression etches upon the marble pallor of his face. In this crisis, in any crisis, he expects me to think. A thought nudges the back of my mind. It's not just sadism, is it? His choice of acid. That's what I thought. If their corpses were whole, someone in the palace would have recognized them. As it is, no one will ever be able to tell. What does that mean? I don't know. Our traitor and the mastermind do not want the assassins to be identified. Unfortunately, they have succeeded. We have not sufficient evidence to guess their motive, or trace who might be involved in the operation. And now the best asset we have is gone. Yes. Aurelius looks like he's about to add something, but stops himself. Don't be too hard on yourself. We'll catch him. Before I can make any reply, he has already turned away, striding down the corridor with his cold, imperious air. My bad. Still made it. That's kind of shitty, giving you one chance to make it, and like one chance only. I think that's kind of bullshit. We can't even make that yet. Oh, well, I guess it's pausing time. You know what, this one is fine. Whatever, this one is fine. And so, an uneventful week passed by. With the prisoner dead, it seems like our only lead is gone, even though the inactivity is killing me, as I don't like to be on the passive side. I have no idea what I can do. Sighing, I close my eyes. Do I really have no choice but to wait until the mastermind strikes again? I feel like I've gamed over, if I'm perfectly honest with you, and it's just letting me continue on. I don't know why. I've got my stats though. Wait, I thought this only went up to 100. Why is it acting as if it's going to go higher? Maybe it is. Daily life. Is it just me or has it gone down? I don't know. I can't tell. I can't fucking tell. Should I care? Oh, I will care. I don't care that much. This cat is putting her claws on me. Ah. That would be everything for today, Lady Rosencruz. Thank you, Raphael. Just as he is about to leave the room, Raphael hesitates and turns back once more. Actually, there is another thing. His brows briefly press into a firm frown, and I notice concern in his eyes. The Lord Regent wanted me to inform you that there is no need to undertake any missions for the time being. He's very concerned about you since you've been pushing yourself too hard during the past few weeks. But Raphael shakes his head, giving no leeway for discussion, and the protest dies in my throat. I see. Please give him my thanks, Raphael. He nods, and in the next second, he's out of the room. Okay. I appreciate the Lord Regent's concern, I really do, however. This feels depressingly like I got my work taken away because of incompetence. Leaning back on my chair, I look out at the window bright with sunlight. A clutter of documents makes on my desk splotchy patches of dark mahogany and paper white. Being mired in this disgraceful mess, physically my workplace and mentally my thoughts, is absolutely unlike me. Wait, I need to look at someone said they asked how many weeks are there in the game. No spoilies. I want to know as well. There we go. 60 weeks. Okay. Yeah, we're on week 18 and there's 60 weeks, alright? Yet the assassins, the killings, the gruesome suicides, the bloody skirmish within the palace, the recent deaths weigh heavily on my mind. Just who is the conductor behind this sinister orchestra of murder? What is their motive? And above all, how can they be stopped? I have failed dismally to find the answers behind these questions. Always, the deviant is one step ahead of me. One may fall, but he should fall by himself. Instead, though the failure is mine, others are suffering its consequences, many of them painfully and fatally. And I can only stand by and watch, unable to do anything. I feel so helpless. This isn't working. Perhaps a stroll will do me some good. A breath of fresh air will clear my head. After all, I need to be at my best to counter the mastermind's next attack. Alright. So yeah, we have no more missions, which is fine because, well, quite frankly, I wasn't taking any of them anyway because none of them had anything to do with Seren. Wait, does that mean I don't get any money? No, I do get money, right? I haven't saved in a little while. I'm kind of letting it go. But if we get a bad one, I'm going to want to go back. Ooh. Fine. Alright. Carefully, I close and lock my study's door behind me as I run through the list of required materials. The servant's request was nothing noteworthy, save for the number of steps. I suppose it would be best to reread the recipe. Aurelius, so hear me out. Prince Nazir's voice echoes throughout the corridor. I stop for a moment and wonder if he might need some help. While I suppose the task at hand can wait for a little while. Belle begged me for a chance to meet you, and... rounding the corner, I stumble upon a bizarre scene. Lady Ishbel and Nazir, each hefting a rather large basket, are trapping Prince Aurelius in a small alcove where he has apparently been sitting for some time. The stern prince, having set his thumb in his book to mark his place, notes my arrival with what I assume to be just the barest hint of relief. So please forgive me, Your Highness, for last time. She stops when she notices Prince Aurelius's attention on me. Both she and Nazir turn and his eyes brighten in recognition. My dear Valkii! Lady Rosencruz, good afternoon! Your Highnesses, Lady Ishbel? I give a slight bow, to which Lady Ishbel clumsily replies with a curtsy because of her large basket. I heard a commotion and wanted to investigate. Did you hear that, Belle? We made a commotion. Mm-hmm. Prince Nazir laughs and Lady Ishbel giggles. I can't help but smile, infected by their delights as I gesture towards their baskets. Where might you be headed? Both glance towards the containers as though they had forgotten them. Oh yes, we plan on distributing food at the parlor's quarters. What's this cat doing? Come up here. The initiative is Belle's, of course. She is a true paragon of virtue. Lady Ishbel blushes deeply, lowering her gaze. Even still, I can tell she enjoys the flattery. I glance at Prince Nazir, wondering how she managed to rope him into such a thing. Is this true? A reflection of House Oud's truly generous spirit? Nazir laughs. Oh, the rations are ours. She convinced me to open the royal coffers. Mm-hmm. Prince Nazir is so generous. My father, She lowers her head again as if ashamed, but it's brief. I'm afraid we are not a wealthy house, but ever since I was elevated to my current status, I've tried not to forget where I came from. Elevated? What is this cat doing? I wasn't always Lady Ishbel, you see. My mother, she was too ashamed to tell him, to tell anyone really. Oh, she flounders, but even without all the pieces in place, it's easy to piece together, an affair or a youthful dalliance. There are many reasons for children to be born out of wedlock. I see. I offer another smile to show I am without judgment. Prince Nazir regards me appreciatively. Encouraged, Lady Ishbel speaks up again. I notice how tightly she holds the basket handle, but whether from excitement or fear, I cannot tell. I grew up very poor, Master Rosencruz. Don't call me Master, Lady. I know the uncertainty of whether one will eat or starve all too well. When I told Prince Nazir I wished a share of the bounty bestowed upon me after my father took me in, she looks at him with genuine gratitude. Nazir attempts to resist preening and promptly fails. He even offered to accompany me. Isn't he generous? I nod with understanding. In a way, I finally understand why Nazir seems to be such good friends with her. The way they care for the common folks is the same. Birds of the same feather flock together, after all. Indeed. In that case, I wish you two a good time in town. Thank you. Maybe you would care to join us, Lady Rosencruz? Me? A splendid idea, I'd say. Come, let us do charity work together. With baskets in hand, Lady Ishbel looks eager and hopeful. Nazir shares her indulgent smile. I glance at Prince Aurelius, who, behind their backs, allows a small and cynical smirk to grace his features. Did they want to rope him into this? Am I now taking his place? Has enough coins. Go with them. Pay 100 coins. Excuse me. Why do I have to pay 100 coins to go with them? I'll go with them, but I don't know why I have to pay. Shit, maybe I should have... Wait, do you think I should go back in time and do... from here? Or maybe I'll do that. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I will be back. Alright, so me and current Bae actually made it. We're gonna create... Ooh, we can't let anybody create that one? I'm very confused. Got an iron bar, which could come in handy. Who was trying to make this? you, maybe? Yeah, it was you. Okay. Sadly, I need to do the saving business again. Sadly, also, I saved again. I did the saving over thing instead of the loading thing, and honestly, I don't even know how I manage it. Am I too tired? This is the correct, this is the correct number that the time is currently. It's very warm. I think I'm just like trying to do everything so fast, and the game is just like doing those things. It's just too slow, and I'm just trying to do it too fast. So I keep making stupid mistakes. So now we didn't manage to fool them all by being like, oh, I'm too tired to make it. Instead, we're on the road of this is going to be an exam. So yeah, I saved it, right? I did, yes. Alright, let's try and get a good... Nope, alright, I'm already having to pause. This is in fact save scumming to the max, and I don't even care. Right. There we go. We're on the right track now. Here, Lord Marshal. I raised the flask of precious liquid from the epicenter of the diagrams, notes and equations that represent the weeks of intensive research I had poured into the problem. The moments of free time I snatched greedily from my daily routine, the sudden inspirations that struck as I settled down to bed, the meals barely eaten, all these and more I offered to Gary and held inside that innocuous little flask. I wish I had more time to study its effects further, but precisely time is not on our side. Good, kept us waiting long enough, but at least you've done the job. Come with me then. The heavy iron doors of the dungeon swings inward with a ponderous groan. Under the flickering light of the torches, I can make out barely the helmeted visages of 4 guards standing straight and stiff as statues before their marshal. Wait here. Stop. They keep getting the things mixed up. So, Lady Rosencruz, I'll administer the serum to the prisoner myself. It won't be a pretty sight. I nod. Garion, where are the princes? You, and you. Garion jabs his fingers at 3 of the guards, who instantly snap to attention. Find the princes and bring them here with all haste. A matter of utmost urgency demands their presence. Yes, sir. The guards spring to life with surprising agility, trooping in a column out of the door and up the stairs that wind into the palace. Do not let the princes enter before I come out. I understand, Lord Marshal, and thank you. Garion looks at me for a second, expressionless. To my surprise, he claps a heavy paw on my shoulder, making me stagger. Equally suddenly, and without a word, he turns away and stops down to the lower cells. Within the span of a few minutes, the princes arrive one after the other. Something makes me think they have all been waiting for precisely this summons. Even Nazir, who is usually impossible to find, trips in merely half a minute after his brothers, carrying with him a determinedly nonchalant air. Nice day for an interrogation, fellows? Or an execution. It will be neither. It shall be a willing confession of the truth and nothing but the truth. So you finished making the truth serum, Lady Rosencruz? So I have. And I assume Garion is making the prisoner... I nod. Even as we speak, he does not want to be interrupted until he has finished his task. The puppet master will make him vomit it out. Yes, but to force the prisoner to take it, there are ways and means. None of which would be too pretty to watch, I must admit. Aurelius narrows his eyes. He opens his mouth, pauses, shrugs, and glances away, all in the space of a single breath. Ways and means, eh? Ways and means. The truth serum also lessens the hold of mind magic on its victims. So once the initial struggle of forcing the prisoner to ingest it is overcome, the subsequent going should be easier and less unpleasant. Even as I say this, I hear a cell door banging, then the loud thumps of many boots stomping across the stone-paved floor, followed by the scratchy sound of something or someone being dragged along the floor. Silence falls over the room. Carry him in, now, carefully. Half turned towards us, Garion directs 2 ashen-faced guards to deposit the burden they are carrying between them onto the single hard stone bench set against the wall. He put up quite a fight at first. Or the devil inside me did. The words that issued from the throat this broken shell that had been a lethal killer of men, makes the hair on my neck tingle. Its unnatural rasp somehow suggests an unspeakable, unbearable terror, same as the twin points of glittering madness in the hollows of his sunken eyes. The devil made me do it, eh? Oh, I'd heard that one a lot in court back in Spellor, usually after the defendant had one too many drinks. Fool, you know not of what you speak. A mocking grin accompanies his words. I motion at Nazir to be quiet, and turn to address the prisoner. What is your name? Cain. My lips twitch. What was the name you were given at birth? The prisoner's lips twist, and when he opens his mouth again, each word sounds like they were wrenched out of him. Helder Dalman. I nod at Garion, but one of his guards is already scribbling down the interrogation. And your age? 31. Good, we might be able to track him down in the census. Having gotten the preliminaries out of the way, there are a few questions I must put to you. Oh, Jesus. I guess we can probably ask all of these. Dun, 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 dun. Who do you serve? I do not know. I spent a fortnight brewing the truth serum for this. You must have some idea. Tell us everything you know. The muscles on the prisoner's face contorts. It looks almost as if there are two minds inside that head, each fighting the other for control. Finally, with a horrible spasm, the prisoner spits out his words through gritted teeth. They amount to little. I have never met the master, nor have I seen his face. How long have you served under him? 3 or 4 years. And you tell me that if you had met him entirely by chance, on the street, you would not recognize him? No, I might if I heard him speak, for I know his voice. But by sight alone, he would be as much a stranger to me as he is to you. I don't suppose he told you his name, either. Of course not. He is the master, and so we call him. So, you said you've heard his voice. Naturally. Male or female? The prisoner shoots Aurelius a baleful glance. Male. Certainly male. So much for that. What will I ask next? Were you placed under a mind control spell? The prisoner makes a bitter, choking sound that took me a few seconds to realize was laughter. I am, rot him, damn that evil, underhanded swine. You mean to say that being under a mind control spell was not part of your contract? Of course not. What is to stop him from simply ordering us to kill ourselves once the work is finished and payment is due? And your men, they did not know as well. They did not until it was too late, but I did. I did, right from the start. It was part of the deal. It was to make them easier to control, but I was supposed to be the exception from the deal. A note of whining complaint entered the prisoner's voice. From the corner of my eyes, I see Seren fold his arms, and Nazir silently shaking his head. They trusted you, and you trusted him. Yes, more fool them, and more fool me. Do you know how he placed you and your men under his mental domination? I knew nothing, saw nothing, sensed nothing. So much for that. What will I ask next? Are you able to contact your employer? No longer. He was always the one to contact me, and he knows I have been captured. That is why, even now, the prisoner swallows. Even now, I hear the worm inside my brain. It twists and slithers, and it demands one more death. His own death. Drawing a shuddering breath, the prisoner falls silent. I mean, I guess this is all the same. Okay, I have no more questions. Alright. So much for that. I bite my bottom lips in thought. There is something more I ought to ask that night, he said. I'd never have thought of Rosencreuz putting magic chains on someone else. Perhaps he knows about the oath and the Rosencreuz. Then his master must be aware too. The High Council has worked hard for centuries to keep this secret, but everyone is prone to making mistakes. This is a matter of utmost importance. I must divert everyone's attention so I can question him alone. What will I... Though bound, shackled, and chained, the prisoner writhes about in a series of jerky, unwholesome movements. Lord Marshal! Seize him! 2 guards dart past me to pin the prisoner by his shoulders to the wall. He emits a shrill and bone-chilling giggle and throws back his head. His mouth opens wide and his lips peel back, showing his teeth neat and white in a row. He's going to bite his tongue. Not on my watch. One of the guards jams his fist into the prisoner's mouth, just as it opens, wincing slightly when the teeth clamps down hard on the leather of his gauntlet. The other extracts a length of cloth which he forces into the prisoner's mouth. So soon? He drank the serum not an hour ago. That gives you an idea of what we had to deal with for the last 2 weeks. Wholly unnerving. Thank you, Nazir. Well, what do we do with him? He can't tell us anything more. That's not what I meant. Nazir, we understand what you meant, but there are concerns that are much more pressing to us. Like the nature of the mind controller's power. A true deviant, then. There is no doubt about it. The power to dominate minds does not come from any of the 6 established elements of magic. Not to mention, he managed to use his power without his victim's notice. But I know nothing else of this matter. I am an alchemist. Perhaps if we request a mage from the High Council. It might take too long, even if we suppose he survives the ambush. What interests me is the nature of this deviant magic. It is constrained, it has to be, or he could have used it on me, on you, even on Rosencruz, instead of mucking about with that scum there. Mind your language, Aurelius. But the prince speaks true. I have wondered that myself. Sight doesn't seem to be involved, but the sound of his voice, perhaps? Fruitless speculation, unless we find more evidence by an investigation. Have you all forgotten something? What is it, Nazir? Oh, nothing particularly significant, just a human life. Why don't we cut a deal with him? How? Nazir turns to the prisoner who has clearly been listening to our discussion. Look here, old thing. You must have people you care about, a wife, you know, children. Slowly, almost painfully, the prisoner nods. Help us, then. Do everything you can to help us track down this master of yours, and we'll do everything we can to protect you from him. We can grant you pardon, we can fake your execution, we can... Nazir, think with your head, not with your heart. As long as he draws breath, his master will know he lives. He is a prisoner. Aurelius stares at Hulda for a heartbeat, his expression impossible to read. Are you still under your master's control? A nod. Will you try to commit suicide the moment you can? Another nod. And if you somehow free yourself from your physical restraints, will you try to kill everyone in this room? Grimly, the prisoner nods one more time. You see, we have no way to tell what extent the deviant has seized control of his mind. He is not only a criminal, but worse, a dangerous and unpredictable element in our midst. I don't believe we should even discuss our plans in front of him. What if his master is listening through him? Aurelius is right. Guards, take him away. At Garion's nod, the guards seize the unresisting prisoner and drag him to the direction of his cell. Nazir, that man is a murderer. And for all we know, a regicide. His life is surely forfeit, whether at the hands of the master or by the arm of the law. As this kingdom's princes, we do have the royal grace to pardon, you know. Pardon, Nazir? That man might have been one of those who killed father. You're just afraid he'll try to kill you. And not even because he wants to, but because he's made to. Nazir, the thought of death frightened many, but... Aurelius taps his chin thoughtfully. For others, evidently, the thought of death elates. Your Highness, if you would make your meaning clear. It's perfectly obvious, Garion. I meant the deviant who controls that assassin. At this moment, there is one death he must desire above all others. You want to use the prisoner as bait for the mind controller? Precisely. This isn't a game of chess, Aurelius, and the prisoner is not a sacrificial pawn. We should keep him safe, hidden and closely guarded while we make our next plans based on what he told us. Safe, hidden, closely guarded? Yes, this way, if we discover any new leads, we can wheel him out to question him again. My dear brother, I don't mean to spite you, but have you thought about what you will say to the nobility living in the palace? What is there to say? Whether this assassin is truly one out of his volition, we don't know. For all I care, he might be a victim that was forced into mind control. What's wrong with wanting to help him? Not wrong, but perhaps naive. The night they attacked, not many were implicated, but a noble family got harmed, albeit not severe. They didn't raise any issue until now because we told them we're questioning the prisoner. So the moment they know there is no information to get from him, they will want him dead. Personally, I do not care how the nobility and Regency Council think about my decisions. However, his eyes briefly flicker to Seren before turning to Garion. Garion? Each of your Highness's plans have much to commend them. I personally believe caution is our best strategy, but what does the royal tutor suggest? 4 sets of eyes turn towards me. This matter is very complicated and I don't think there is a solution that can please everyone. Nazir wants to help the prisoner. Aurelius suggests to use him as bait. Seren advises caution. As for me... I mean, I have to go with what Seren wants, right? We save. Wait, I want to check daily life. Has it gone down or is it just me? I feel like it has gone down. It has. Fuck, you know why it went down? sake, because of when I lied about it being an examination. And I didn't mean to do that. That's really annoying. Fuck. Can we not, like, go back? I like it when you can go back to previous times. Move forward with current information. We've got... Can we check if this makes... It made it go up. It made it go up. Okay. We're okay. We've gotten all we need from the prisoner for the present. I also vote we keep him in reserve. Very well. My men and I will do our best to hold him. Based on the leads that he has told us so far, we should be able to inquire how the Deviant's assassins had managed to infiltrate the palace. It is these leads we should be investing our energy and resources in investigating. I find myself nodding in agreement as Saren speaks. And once those investigations bear fruit, we can always drag the prisoner back out for another round of interrogation. It will help us piece together the new information we discover. True, not to mention, this way we get to avoid tipping the Deviant off that we are onto his game either. With a bit of luck, he won't be wiser that we found out what he had from the prisoner today. Which could give us an advantage. Fine. Oh, alright, I bow, as I must, before the will of the majority. Then that's settled. So, I clap my hands to draw everyone's attention. Now that we've decided what to do with the prisoner, we must plan our next move against the Deviant and his assassins. Go on with your daily tasks and give me any suggestions you come across. Alright. Is there really no more? I don't know. Anyway. I'm gonna stop for today because it's very late. Alright. I will see you in the next video. Bye!